say anything to you. You got a ghillie gun? You got a ghillie gun?
No,
Okay.
hell no. I just call him like that shit. That's my problem.
Okay, you all ready?
No.
Ready? Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Middletown Borough Council meeting for April 24th of 2026. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then the moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Grace, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Curry,
Here.
Ms. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Reed,
Am I allowed to answer? Okay. Here.
Ms. Thomas,
Here. Here.
Ms. Sullivan.
Thank you. Report on an executive session was regarding personnel and potential litigation. No action was taken. Now is the time in the meeting for public comment on agenda items only. If anybody has any comments, could you please step forward?
Greg Wilsbach, 719 Spruce Street. With regards to the highway report and the basketball courts, I want to read a couple things that I did a little research on. March 24th, York County Community Basketball Courts closed to needles, condoms, trash, marijuana, and fights. Drugs, trash, profanity closed McDonald Park basketball courts. Deputies say teen pulled out guns during a violent fight at Cypress Basketball Court. New Jersey Basketball Court closed due to violence. Williamsport Memorial Park closed, removed hoops, backboards, posts by orders of the city's mayor due to persistent problems with littering and drugs. No crimes reported at Lincoln Park since basketball hoops were removed after gun violence. Teen shot at basketball court in Schuylkill River Park. Basketball court remains closed after third incident after a shooting and 2 fights at Glen Rock Court. Basketball disturbance leads to shot, including a bystander at Teakwood Drive, Indiana. I keep saying this, that basketball court has no place in a park where little kids from 1 year old to 10-year-old are feet away. And I wish someone would have worded that when they did their questionnaire. Would you like to see a basketball court in Oak Hills? Maybe it should have been worded, would you like to see a basketball court in Oak Hills, even though it may subject 1-year-old to 10-year-old and 11-year-old kids to consistent cursing, violence, needles, drug paraphernalia, and fights. Maybe then I think it would have been a different outcome on a poll, which to me, polls don't matter anyways, because if we did polls, we'd have the Christmas tree moved down to Hoffer Park. So the only thing I got to say is I hope council does the right thing. I'm not against basketball courts. Find a place to put it. Find a place to put a full court. Don't put it where these little kids play. I got grandkids now that play in that park consistently. I see elderly people in there that are always over there, and it will change that park. And I'm asking you take 1/10 of the money that you were going to put into a basketball court there and put it towards some exercise equipment on that trail for the elderly people. There's no exercise equipment like you're thinking about at your other parks. So that stuff's rather cheap, and I think it would be good for the community. So with that said, I think I'm out of time. And if not, then I can talk about something else. I still got some time. I'd like to talk about the borough colors quick. Middletown has always been blue and gold. The school has been also blue and gold. If you look at our 200th anniversary flag down there, which was like 75 years ago or 80 years ago, blue and gold. Look at our 250th anniversary flag, blue and gold. These banners flew everywhere. Look at our town signs, blue and gold. Look at the library signs, blue and gold. Our street signs are blue for a reason. Not green, blue. Because Middletown has always been rich in blue and gold. And for someone wanting to come in and change, people's history in a town, to me, I just can't fathom that. When you have certain colors, your historic lights don't dictate the color of your town. They dictate the color of your historic lights. Ephrata Borough has black historic lights. Their colors for their town logos are not black. Middletown has green historic lights. We weren't going to put in blue historic lights. We have green. And yes, you match banners to go with your green. You match your traffic signals to go with your historic lights. But you don't change your town colors that have been around forever because you have green traffic lights and city lights. That's all I have to say. If the Press and Journal had that out, I believe there'd be a lot of old people in here wanting to tar and feather. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Anybody else on the agenda? Seeing none. Item number 1.
Do I have a motion to approve council meeting minutes for the April 7th, 2026 meeting as submitted?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Agenda item number 2.
Do I have a motion to approve payment of bills as shown on the accounts payable list dated April 16th, 2026, which is for the period of April 3rd through April 16th, 2026, and to ratify the approval of such bills already paid and to authorize the appropriate officials to take the required action to make those payments?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 3.
In your packet is the certification list from the Civil Service Commission for potential hirees for police officer. Do I have a motion to adopt the civil service eligibility list as approved by the Civil Service Commission?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions?
Likely a handwritten error, but this is dated by Navy Bay as July 21st, 2026.
Oh,
Good catch. Yep. We'll fix that. Everybody else has theirs right, but yeah, he put the 7 instead of a 4.
Can we just
No, the
amend
list is
it?
the list. I think that's something that would be considered a minuscule change. Don't you? That we'll just note that in the minutes that we're going to correct that date.
Any other questions? Sorry. All those in favor?
aye.
Motion passes. Number 4.
Okay, that would be my report. The item number 1 on my report is a special event request that we received from Grace and Mercy Church. They want to use Hupper Park, including the pavilion, on September 12th to honor Middletown Borough volunteer firefighters. The event would have vendors, food trucks, entertainment, and a children's corner. They're requesting to have 2 police officers for traffic control. If you are okay with it, we will put it on the agenda for the business meeting. At this time, I'm just looking for your direction.
Sure. Yep.
Okay? All right, we'll put it on the business meeting agenda. Every 2 years, council is required to pass a resolution reaffirming the adoption of the Dauphin County Emergency Operations Plan. With no objections, we'll put that on the agenda for the May meeting as well.
Okay.
In your packet is I think it's in the packet, the Historical Restoration Commission would like to put a description on our website about their role of the Historical Restoration Commission. This is not the Historical Society, this is our commission. That was a couple of meetings ago? Okay. Well, the solicitor reviewed it and suggested that we remove the last sentence that's in there. If council agrees, we'll have that information placed on the website. Okay.
Okay.
Information item there, number 4. Now, we didn't get a official notification, but we read the news articles. We're happy to read in the Penn Live that the Dauphin County Commissioners voted to approve a $150,000 grant for the borough for Phase 1 of our Solera Crossings Park project. This is going to allow us to put certain features in that we removed from the preliminary design. When we originally looked at preliminary design, there were additional trails around the outer ring of this park that we removed because we didn't have significant funds of our own to meet the match. So we had to take a few things out. This will allow us to put those trails back in. And I will say, along with that, we are planning to get together on a Teams meeting with our engineers, HRG, to kick off the final design for Phase 1 of that project. Everything's in place except the, like I say, the agreement from the county gaming board for that. But we're looking at several months to get the design and get things ready for bid. So what we're going to do on May 6th at 9:30 is we're going to have a Teams meeting, staff and HRG, to talk about what do we want in the final design before it goes out to bid? How do we want that to look? So if anybody on council is interested in sitting in and hearing that, what we're talking about, I will share the Teams meeting invite with you. Just
I
let
am.
me know. Okay.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Any, Rochelle, anybody else?
When is it?
May 6th at 9:30 in the morning.
That is a,
I can just share it with everyone, and then if you can't, you can't, but you'll have it to look at.
I
Okay.
can't.
Okay, that brings me to item number 5 on my report. I know that I think our last meeting where we discussed the sheds down on Susquehanna Street that are used by the Baseball Association and the football folks. We talked about maybe doing something different down there as far as some alternate sheds. I know the mayor wanted to talk about that some more, but I will let you know that as far as the youth club, who owns 2 of those sheds on our property, letters did go out letting them know to respond to us within 30 days. So those letters went out 2 weeks ago, right after our last meeting. So I was down there today. I looked at them, and I did, as you've heard Jason talk before, the Baseball Association have theirs anchored down for the floodplain, but the youth club still is not anchored down.
And we heard nothing back.
No, we haven't heard anything back yet.
I guess the conversation revolves around the first question is, are we interested in owning a structure of some sort there? I can speak for myself. I am. And, I made that point because last time about how that area is a part of our parks, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can do our community and our sports teams, which we're very proud of in Middletown, a big favor by giving them a really nice structure there they can run their programs out of.
Anybody other comments?
Madam Chair. It's old news at this point, but I echo what Pat is saying. I think that having those 4 structures down there is a bad first impression for our youth sports. I think that supporting them and building something that we would own and maintain is worthwhile. We wouldn't have this situation of chasing groups that are volunteers for 2 years to get them in compliance with the flood regulations if we owned it. I don't think that's something that should fall upon volunteers, and I think it is part of the grand scheme of our parks, and we should do something about that. It's my understanding that even though that's in a flood area, you're not limited to a shed. you could build a permanent structure there so long as it has the venting necessary for flood compliance. I understand that you could even pour concrete pad down there so that in front of the concession stand area, you could have bistro tables and people could get something from the snack stand and watch the practice or watch the game. There could be something grand there. Just do it. And I don't think that having youth sports who got a good deal from Glick Woodworks come in and drop a bunch of random sheds there with Glick Woodworks sign on the side of it is correct. And it's our property and we should be the ones maintaining it. So I'd like to start looking at some designs of what we could pull off down there. And that's something that will be there for decades upon decades. If it's done correctly.
I don't disagree with you, but I will tell you that I would not vote for it this year because it is not in the budget to vote for it this year. And that is a bigger project, especially when we're looking at other projects coming up that are more important to some of us. I'd like to see it be one of the capital improvements that we could add to the budget next year and potentially look at. But I would want more than one estimate when we do it. I would want to see more than one estimate coming across the desk to say, we've gotten several estimates and this is what we want to look at, rather than one.
I never said that.
No, I didn't say you did.
I never said it would be one estimate.
I didn't say you did.
And in terms of the money, I mean, we just voted a couple meetings ago to spend $472,000 out of a pot of money for one of our projects. This would be a pittance compared to that in support of youth sports. And that money is there. I'm not saying we have to do it this second. I think it would take some time to even get some designs through this body. However, let them use what they have to use for this season and going into the end of this year. But I would like to have the ball rolling where that design is ready to go, and maybe we could break ground in the spring because I'm tired of kicking the can on stuff like this.
I wouldn't mind seeing some numbers myself. Johnny?
I'd like to hear from the sports teams how they feel about sharing space, what their needs are. You know, if that's their deal, they know what they need and they know what best suits them. And I would like to hear from them.
Agree?
You can invite them if you want. I've already talked to both of them. So
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear them come to a meeting, maybe our next workshop. You're in baseball, if you can get a hold of the president. I think if we can
that's
get a
what it
hold
takes,
of,
I'll bring them.
just to hear what they would want to see down there.
Actually, if it's meaningful to you, one of them's here right now. I mean, you want to hear from them? He's here.
We can bring both of them when we,
Well, who is it?
go ahead.
Question before.
Go
There are
ahead.
people in the audience from one of the organizations. Actually, it's for Latoya. Regarding if it's a structure that the borough would own and two organizations are putting equipment in there and they're sharing it, where does the liability lie? Like, who is responsible for, would it be something that the borough would be leasing the shed to those organizations, or how would that actually work?
Those would all be things for the borough to consider how they would want the relationship to work.
So it would possibly,
So the borough could potentially put requirements in place for use of the shed and who has responsibilities or what the obligations are, who would share in the liability.
and,
I would see that as being negotiation points.
okay.
That would be a sticking point. I mean, we would obviously want the organizations to maintain. We don't want somebody going in there and trashing the place before the next organization comes in. I mean, I know with Lower Spatera, there is actually a signature that you have to sign on a piece of paper stating that each organization has to do it. You're going to keep it and maintain it the way it was.
So what do they do if, like, it's the township's shed?
Yes.
So what happens if it gets broken into and their equipment's stolen?
The LSTA's equipment, the insurance would cover it.
Who's,
LSTA,
they
LSTA,
carry the
yes.
insurance on the structure also, or
No,
just their
just
equipment that's
their
in
equipment,
there?
yes.
It's the contents.
Yes,
Right, okay,
Like renter's insurance on it.
yes.
yeah.
I think we would do something similar to like we've done in the past with some other leases, like we did with the youth club with the Main Street gym. There'd be some sort of lease agreement for using our building, and they would have to produce insurance. And on that insurance, we would probably ask them to indemnify us of any kind of damage that would happen to their equipment down there in that floodplain.
Yeah. If we could have them at the next workshop meeting, if you can get them to come in, Jim, that would be great.
Well, you
Football
said they were here
organizations
now.
here.
Who is it?
There are,
Yeah, the new
if I may,
football.
Madam Chair, I don't know what everyone's schedule is. I do know those two are here now. So
Okay.
if you're willing to hear at least from that one, maybe baseball could come to the next one and they're not required to come to the next one.
That's fine.
Mr.
Percy,
Perez and Percy, if you have any comments.
don't fight over who's coming up. Just one of you come up.
Hi, Alan Perez, 911 Vine Street. I'm a coach with the organization since the two combined. This is the president, Percy Maple. He doesn't live in Middletown right now, so I'll do the speaking. We had a meeting last night, and some of the concerns of the board members were just what you mentioned about liability if something happened here and there. As far as concession stand, if something broke, who did this? You know, we're talking like two families in the same house. So we would like to talk with MABA, you know, and see what they have to say. But we're more than grateful for what everyone's trying to do for us. I mean, don't take it the wrong way of what I'm saying. We're grateful for anything we can get. But like you say, we like to talk to them and, you know, we're going to live in the same house and see how we can make it together.
One point of clarification, that wasn't my intention for you to share a concession stand or a storage area. I would have had you separate on the Susquehanna Street side in terms of storage areas, that your equipment is not commingled with anyone else's.
Okay.
Same thing with regard to the concession stand. There would be window access to the fields, but separate and apart from each other.
Oh, okay.
So you would not be sharing same equipment, you wouldn't be sharing same space.
Okay.
That's my
Okay.
idea.
That's his vision.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So that's what
I understand.
that's his vision.
Yes.
There may be one where
Yes.
we talk about just a bigger area and combining the two.
Yes, and it's like he said, Mr. Klein, we have insurance and we cover
Right.
all our equipment and everything, just like we did in Main Street Gym. We would still have insurance.
Would you guys be able to meet with MABA prior to our next workshop meeting, which would be next month?
He said, yeah, he could get a hold of Mr. Brill.
And then you guys could come forward again at that workshop meeting after talking with them and everybody deciding what they would like to see.
Great, that'd be great.
Perfect.
Thanks for
Jim, I
everything
think,
you're
yeah.
trying to do. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Just to clarify again, I think you're envisioning one building
yes.
with a wall that splits the internals of the building,
And
two
I-
separate doors.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did speak with MABA and they too would want it separate, but I'll let
Okay.
them come and speak for themselves.
Okay. Yeah, that was the interest of being together in the same kitchen.
One structure, separate rooms.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Are everybody good with that one?
As far as the structure, do you want Matt to approach HRG at this point to see what they would charge to look at this? Or is this, I mean, when somebody's going to talk about design instead of just getting a shed, maybe some people here want to sketch something first.
I'm fine with it.
So, you know, do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only fine with it if everybody's on board with the majority with owning something like this. If that's not the case, then it's probably a waste of time.
Well, that's what, if we could not spend money on HRG and have Jim draw something up and potentially just look at what the cost would be, And again, not this year, but
Well,
next
if we
year's
could-
budget.
And Madam President, Vice President, if he speaks with Matt, I know Matt has some drafting skills, that he could do the drawing if he understands what your vision is and your location for this thing. Okay.
Good? Everybody good?
That's all I have on my report. Enough. Huh?
That is enough. Number 5,
That's fine.
code.
We're at 6.
We're at 5.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Jason.
Looking at, you can see the statistics for 1 and 2. Basically jumping to number 3, where I had sent a formal appeal letter to FEMA regarding the properties in question. I did receive a response by email from FEMA saying that they will accept that letter.
Good.
However, they have no time frame because of the government shutdowns. So at least I have an acknowledged email that the appeal's in, and we'll handle that whenever that time comes. There are only 3 properties out of the list of 7 that were of a concern. One wasn't condensed down to 1 of each, and the other one's in a large area that's already basically considered a floodplain area, and we treat it like a floodplain area anyway.
Good.
Looking at number 4, we produced a continuity of operations plan for any disasters that may occur. You should see the plan. It's fairly thick, but it has a lot of the details in there should something occur. If there are no objections, staff plans to implement this for the year and then do some annual reviews and revisions as it is needed.
Any issues with that?
No.
Great, thank you. And number 5, if you look attached, I have a draft. It's already a ordinance, but we're revising that. Some time ago, we were looking at editing some of the wording that was in the original unreserved handicap parking ordinance. You'll see the line items in red that were scratched out from the original, and what's in red not lined out that should be implemented. And if there are no objections with that, we can have our solicitor do the formal process to get that in the works for advertising.
There's only 2 spots that you want to change.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, everything generally council was okay with.
Well, this isn't what we wanted to change. This is what council wanted to change when this issue came up at
About
least a couple of years ago, when there was a dispute over handicap parking. And our ordinance was written that if you don't have enough frontage for a car, you had to get your neighbor's permission to be 5, 10 feet in front of their house.
right.
And our solicitor told us there was really no need to do that because we own the streets. We can dictate that. And I just warned that what I had originally, we originally did here some years ago was kind of modeling what Steelton did. They had where you had to get the neighbor's
Permission?
permission. Yeah, I'm sorry. But because they have a lot of areas with row homes and they fight over parking spaces there. Now, we don't have as big of a crunch problem as they do, but some of our areas in town are tight.
Right.
So that's why we followed that scenario like Steelton did. But some people rejected that and said we should get that out of here. So it's really your decision. We're going to follow, but you know, this is one of those things that was put on the back burner. We kind of forgot about. We're bringing it back up before we have another dispute. So,
And I remember that conversation now.
Yeah.
because the thing is, even if we take it out, we don't have to approve where it goes. If somebody wants it here now, it's always going to come before council. So it's really unnecessary according to Jim Diamond.
While we're
everybody-
I'm sorry,
You're okay.
go ahead.
No, you're fine.
While we're discussing this, can you remind me, what is the fee for the handicap application?
Is 75?
75?
Yeah, I think so.
I just want to go on record to say I do not recall the resident's name that was here last year. I can't remember her name, a female. But I do want to say that I do agree that I don't believe if the space is not reserved, I don't think that we should be charging our residents $75 to get a handicap spot. Just my opinion, because it's not their spot. It's open to anyone. So I'm just going to go on record to say that.
Anybody else have any questions on that? We can, about sending it over to Jim Diamond.
All right.
Thank you.
$75.
And then the rest are, I've already been taken care of, so.
Isn't that right though? The $75 is to erect the sign?
It's the cost
For the
to
sign.
put it all together.
Right,
But it's not their spot.
right, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
Thank you.
Jason.
Thank you, sir.
Then you got,
Number 6,
right, yeah, every year,
electric.
for every sign.
Good evening. Been continuing out at Woodland Hills and working on our pole replacements. Also rewiring the light poles for the 52 new decorations in our free time. Number 15 attached is a new agreement with Allegheny Electric Cooperative regarding our NYPA power allocation for council's review and approval at next meeting. Basically just reflects the new rates. FAT meters were ordered and will be tested on the system for a few months before placing a large production order. We have received our new Digger Derrick truck and will begin stocking and upfitting it to prepare it for service. It will need a front bumper upfitted with a capstan wheel and a winch. That's how we pull in all of our wire. So I am working on getting a quote for that. Number 20 attached are 2 quotes to replace the existing fence slats at Spruce Street substation with a green colored slat. 21, Middletown Electric has again received national recognition for American Public Power's 2025 Certificate of Excellence and Reliability for finishing in the top quartile of utilities for System Average Interruption Duration Index, or SAIDI. I've attached the 2025 annual benchmarking report. 22, we received this last Friday afternoon and we are reviewing it. GDS would like to have another call to present and answer any remaining questions with council. Maybe before the next business meeting, if that works for everyone, we can set that up.
What we'd like to do, because this is a document that's in draft form still, they want to get your questions or concerns before it goes out. So what we want to do is have an executive session, if you're all okay with it, at 6:30 before your regular meeting, your next business meeting. And then on the agenda of the business meeting, if your questions were satisfactorily answered, we can approve sending that RFP out in an advertisement.
Is everybody okay with 6:30 at your next meeting?
May?
Yep.
Beginning of May?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Number 23, DM Coatings has sanded and primed the light poles with failing paint. They will now be proceeding to the finish painting. They did have difficulty matching the color of the newer brackets, so I offered to them to just paint the brackets and the poles with the color that they had. But he thought that would require a lot of additional work, so he has assured me that he will be getting the correct color and they should be back either tomorrow or Thursday. And then once they are back, I will get an updated timeline of when they think they'll be done. Spruce Street update. Ashburn Engineers continues to work on the Spruce Street SCADA system and integration of Mill Street SCADA into the new system. 2 outages since last report: squirrel contact and faulty transformer. And 1 action item: improve the agreement with Allegheny Electric Cooperative for our NYPA power allocation. Any questions?
Are they done with the substation now?
They're done with like all of Hayden's work. It's just the engineers are still working on the SCADA system.
We should have had them, if you wouldn't mind. I was walking by there. The gate that goes across to close that is not very secure. Like there's a gap probably this big.
Oh, really?
A child, like that's just naturally it's how it's structured.
Oh,
Like a child could easily walk right in there.
okay.
I saw that today.
You notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like there's adjustment on the bracket that you can bring it in closer to the fence. The
The
gate,
Oak Hill gate or the Spruce Street gate?
Spruce Street sub on the Oak Hill side.
Oh, on the Oak Hill side?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Oak Hill side.
Yeah, we'll check that out.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Our electric rates. Can you explain, I know you want us to agree to this, can you explain what is going to happen with them?
With the NIPA. Like currently, you mean like as how they're going up?
Well, first of all, let's say we buy 95% of our energy from BP Energy. We buy 5% of our wholesale needs from Allegheny Cooperative.
Right, very small.
This is a
amount.
cooperative that buys power from a hydroelectric plant in New York. And in the state of Pennsylvania, Allegheny Cooperative they're the authority that gets to broker that deal with New York Energy. And they divide that energy that they're able to bring in from that power plant among a number of municipal and cooperative electric users in Pennsylvania. So this will only affect about 5% of what we buy, but the cost to buy, the wholesale cost to buy from here is much lower than we buy from BP. It's less than a penny kilowatt.
Yeah, it's right around about half a penny kilowatt hour. And even going into 2031, it doesn't reach a penny quite, almost a penny a kilowatt hour.
But we've been buying from this cooperative for as long as I can remember, quite some time. It's just time to renew. That agreement is expiring the end of this year. Just housekeeping.
I know, so he stated rate increases, so I just wanted.
Yeah, there is a slight increase, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other
Any
questions?
questions?
Yep.
I'm sorry, could you repeat again? You said that the electric department was recognized for what?
Yeah, we finished in the top quartile of the System Average Interruption Duration Index, or SAIDI.
We get the power back on quick.
Yeah.
You do. Thank you. Congratulations. We know. You
It's
do.
the average duration of interruption per customer during a specific amount of time. And
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Do you want the solicitor at the executive session on May 5th for the meeting,
Oh, for the,
for the call?
yeah,
Thanks.
if you could, that'd be great.
I'll let them know.
Yep. Yeah, there might be a
That's a good
legal
idea.
question that comes up.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions on electric? Okay. 7.
Emergency management, Tom.
Good evening. My report is, I spent 103 hours in the office this quarterly. I assisted the Red Cross on 2 drills at the Borough building, attended county training, and also attended a 3-day task force conference over in Enola. So,
What are you doing the drill for the plant, for a TMI plant?
that's,
You're not gonna do
We're
that
not
for a while?
we're not even near ready.
Okay,
They're talking April next year,
April next year?
first drill.
Okay,
Now they're saying, okay, they're saying next year, April will be our first drill, if they get that far.
they get, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Number 8, finance.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I just have 2 informative items for you. The borough completed a risk assessment through McKee Insurance for all of our properties and vehicles. We received a comprehensive report that staff is currently reviewing to incorporate recommendations and make some minor adjustments to our current policies. The second item is regarding the fire department vehicle. So I did receive estimated numbers for a lease through Leasing 2 and also regarding a bank loan through PFM, one of our banks. The proposals were prepared based on a total vehicle price of 1.6 million with $800,000 down, so leaving $800,000 to be financed. So with that, the estimates were approximately $100,000 per year, depending on the length of the term and the first payment date. The interest rates on the bank loan are approximately 1.2% lower than those on the lease.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions?
Our chief, Whitebread, informed us he can't be here tonight. I know he's next on the agenda, but he is interested on whether or not he should get a updated quote from Seagraves for our next meeting or for our June meeting, June business meeting. So I wanted to pass that along.
Shouldn't he do it for May? The longer we wait, the more the price is gonna go up.
Well, before you do that, you have to determine out whether you're going to go bank loan or you're going to get a lease and how you're going to pay for it. And if do you want to pay for it? So you got to answer those questions before we can answer his question.
What do we wanna do?
He would like to move on it, but you know, it's a significant amount of money that you're going to have to finance. The debt service on it, I think under a 14-year loan is probably about $80,000 a year, and on a 10-year loan is closer to $100,000, I believe, roughly. So those numbers probably equate to about $1/3 in tax increases, unless you can find the money other places. I know Ken, Chief Whitebread talked about applying for grants each year through the gaming grant to see if we can offset that. You could get a gaming grant and pay debt service, but that's just not a guarantee. You have to go into it as if
You're
you're gonna pay
You're not
for it.
gonna for it.
Yeah.
How much do we have now in like their fund to put in?
800.
800,000.
About 50% of the cost we
Yeah.
have.
And I didn't think we could start paying on it until we actually had the vehicle.
So the estimated date of delivery on the vehicle would be 4 years, but with either the lease or the bank loan, we would need to start paying in 2027, so next year, or 2028. The furthest they'll go out is 2 years, and it seems like too, if we were to extend it to 2 years, the annual payments would increase a little bit.
Well, I think we need to have the conversation now about
Yeah.
paying for it. Instead of waiting.
To me, they need the equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 20 years old.
We can't we can't wait until June to have this or May to have a conversation that we should have today.
So what do you feel?
I'm more inclined to lease it. But that's just me.
It's a lease payment.
The lease payment.
It's not, you're not leasing the
Yeah.
fire truck. You're just leasing the payment.
The lease the payment,
Yeah.
yes.
That's a higher rate though.
Is it?
Yeah.
How much? What?
1.20.
I didn't hear you when you said it.
The interest rate on the lease is about 1.2% more than that on the bank loan. Depending on the length of the term, it's about five and a quarter percent to 5.5% interest rate with the lease.
Right.
And the bank loan is about 4 to 4.25%.
What's the benefit of doing one over the other? Is there?
Cost, the interest rate being a little bit lower.
So if we were to do it, we're going to do the bank loan.
Some of you will remember when we upgraded our streetlights in town and we went to LEDs. That was a situation where the bank loans were cheaper than a payment through a third party who was going to fund it. So, there's different, probably different documents we got to get for both. So at least might be a little bit easier up front, but bank loan might be a little more paperwork, but you're going to, your annual
save
payment's
money.
going to be probably, what, $20,000 less a year?
So, again, these are all just estimates. So once we go out for finals, it might change a little bit. On a 14-year lease, the total overall savings on the bank loan would be about $46,000 in total. So on average, it's about $3,000 to $4,000 cheaper per year.
That's only back a little bit.
That's, yeah, based on the numbers that we received from the bank.
If we were to do this, we would put the 800K up front.
Right.
I think 800K up, and then we would have to start making payments 2 years down the road.
Yeah, either in 2027 or
Maximally?
2028. So the maximum we could go out would be 2 years.
But would we really want to wait that long to make a payment?
The annual payment amount does go up if we wait the 2 years. It's
Yeah.
a little bit lower if we go ahead and do it within 1 year.
And then what happens with? Now that's the hard part, I guess. The current one, because I'm thinking, okay, because then could you
They're
sell
gonna-
the current one, and how much value would that be? Because I know the last thing we sold wasn't very valuable.
But this one they own.
Yeah. They can sell this one.
We owned the pumper. We
Yeah.
sold the KME pumper. The borough owned it. So you're saying Dawn, the fire
I'm
department?
pretty
owns the
sure
rescue
Kenny
truck?
said they own this one, but I can check with him.
What did we get for the pumper? Do you
Not
recall?
a lot.
50,000,
It was like 30.
60,000?
I thought it was like 30.
I think it was 50.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
No, I don't think it was 50.
Was it 45?
It was like
I
46,
think it was like
maybe?
46.
45. Somewhere in 45, 50 range, I think.
And for the public's benefit and mine, can you give me an overview of? So I think that when Kenny Whitebread Jr. stood here, he referenced, if I get the acronym wrong, I apologize, the NFPA, is that correct? National Fire
think
Protection
that's correct.
Association, something like that. And there's a recommendation that across the nation, these apparatus, these trucks have a lifespan of whatever it says, 15 years, 20 years. But you just said we're going to sell this, or they would sell it?
I would assume we'd follow the same procedure we did with
Well,
the
who's
pumper
buying
truck.
it?
Who's buying it? Probably some other small fire department somewhere, like the engine sold to a township outside of Pittsburgh somewhere.
So why can another department use it?
Well, these are guidelines or standards. They're not laws. When NFPA says they recommend 15 years changing out your I think what they call it your primary or your first duty unit,
That's
because after 15 years a number of things could happen, wear and tear. The new stuff has maybe more updated technology or safety features on the truck that weren't there for 15 years ago. So it's a decision to make. And they say if you want to keep it longer, a lot of people keep them. They recommend you keep 25 years as a secondary vehicle. Basically, like if you're a big department, say you have 3 pumper trucks, but most calls, 1 or 2 go out, but you got this third one. That might be one they keep around for 25 years because it's a backup. So that's what NFPA talks about when they talk about the 15 and 25 year.
But the
Time
NFPA, from my cursory overview of that, is also taking into account the nation. So we're talking about the New York Fire Department is going to have a lot more wear and tear on this type of vehicle than Middletown Borough would. And yet they still have a blanket 15-year number, 20-year number in their guidelines. So my question is, I've never heard, other than the fact that it's reached that part in its age, what the actual issues are with the truck. Me personally, as a member who would vote on this, I'd like to know what the issues are with the truck to see if it's possible to retrofit it or update it rather than finance a $1.5 million truck. That's something I can't make a decision without all the information in front of me, because my memory serves me, there's also a ladder truck on the horizon. I don't know what the time frame was, but I remember that being talked about, and that was 2 million or 2.5 million. I'd rather, why I said I'm going to call on you, because I'm not a firefighter. What does this truck do for the layman people here? What does it do when it's called to a fire scene as opposed to a ladder truck or a pumper truck? Tell me that.
Well, I'm not a fireman. I'm not as well versed as Kenny or any of the firemen, but yeah, I did belong many years ago. And so I have a general understanding of what rescue trucks do and what ladder trucks do. But, rescue trucks are often the vehicle, you see that box type vehicle that, when there's crashes or rescues needed, like water rescue, a high rise rescue, the baskets, the rappel
Accident.
tools, the jaws of life and accidents, the cut. They have a lot of different tools and hydraulics and probably air compressors for rescuing people that are trapped or stranded. But there may be more things they do that I don't know about. Like I say, I'm not the expert. And of course, ladder truck is for fighting fires in high rises. That's for rescuing as well from high rises, but it does throw water on a fire. It's from the top of the tower.
I'd like to know what the possibility is of retrofitting this and saving money for me, what seems like the more important piece of apparatus, the more expensive piece of apparatus, which is on the horizon. Because this is going to happen for in the next couple of years and then within the next half a decade.
Mm-hmm.
After this next election, whoever's sitting here with that term of 4 years, you're probably going to hear they need a ladder truck for 2 million to 2.5 million. And I don't know if I'd like to deplete that sinking fund or put all our eggs in a financing basket if we have money available to perhaps retrofit it. I'd at least like to know those pieces of information before I would make a $1.5 million decision.
Yeah, I don't know what all is in that decision, and I wouldn't even want to dare. But fire trucks aren't like dump trucks or street sweepers, right? They carry a higher risk and liability, and you want everything to work properly when you're on, something like that. If you recall, when I first came here as the manager, we got a street sweeper, right? Mm-hmm. So we looked at its use, but we also looked at its wear and tear based on age, because, you mentioned city departments that might get more frequent use that makes it wear quicker than maybe a small town. But there's also the age and what it's been exposed to. For example, that street sweeper that we replaced, it was rotted out underneath. I mean, there were holes all through the tanks and things like that. So that can happen too with age, the wear. So I don't know, what the status is of the fire department's rescue truck or what went into the decision.
Mayor Lloyd.
Madam Vice President, if I may, unfortunately, Mr. Whitebread was here last meeting, and he isn't able to be here this meeting. So perhaps we could reach out to him, and if he could come next meeting, even though it's not the normal meeting, he could answer all of these questions, so then it wouldn't be held up to the following meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be my suggestion.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him and ask him to be at our next business meeting, if that's okay, at the business meeting, to have him discuss it with us.
Because he is the professional and would know the answers to Mr. Curry's question.
Either him or Todd.
Yeah.
Or Rich Seacrest. But I'll reach out to somebody and see if they can come and have a conversation.
We'll have Grace put that on as an agenda item for
Please,
the meeting.
if that's okay with everybody.
Yes, that's good. Can I ask another question, if you can? Ken, is there a possibility for some sort of grant or something that we could use to pay for this?
You could, go, I mean, when we bought the pumper truck, we went after a gaming grant, county gaming grant, for down payment. And we were awarded some money for down payment. Then each subsequent year, we went back and got debt service. So, you know, there's a round coming up this summer for county gaming again. You could go in and ask them, we want $300,000 toward down payment. You know, we're putting up 8 and then we're going to finance the rest. That's a possibility.
Yeah, that'd
And
be,
I think Kenny does those.
Yeah, like I said, we did it with
Yeah.
the pumper and Ken put that together, you know, we helped a little bit, but he led the charge on that.
okay.
So everybody's okay with putting it on the agenda for the business meeting to have him come and explain?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Any other questions for finance?
All right, Thank you.
Highway?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Excuse me. Should have an estimate for the downtown, or the downstairs lobby area. Should have that either the end of this week or early the following week. So we have some direction to go on there. I did have Woody Waste usage information attached in your packet there. There's a lot of stuff on here. I wasn't exactly sure what information. There's a lot of numbers that go into the Woody Waste facility.
Yeah, you're not.
Can we discuss Woody Waste real quick?
Sure.
I personally would like to see the usage increased, even for this year. I'm sorry. 10 to me is just not enough for residents that have issues, have little trucks or little cars that are making 10 trips going out there in just this spring, not let alone summer and fall. So I'd like to see it increase at least to 15 or 20 to allow them. I personally, if it were me, I wouldn't even put a usage on it, but if we want to talk usage, I say at least 15 or 20 and maybe increase the cost for your other municipalities to keep using it.
What is the cost right now?
$10 for borough residents, 50 for Royalton and Lower Swadera.
What did you say, Matt?
$10 for Middletown, 50 for Royalton and Lower Swadera.
I mean, because if you look at the usage, again, it's not, a lot of it is outside the borough. So I don't see a problem increasing the cost for outside the borough to use it.
The only thing I would caution there I mean, you can, but we're kind of midstream and I know it's on all our website, their website. I don't think we might get some pushback. I don't think anybody would if you say you went from 10 trips to 20 trips, because
Right.
that's a positive for everybody, I think. Yeah, changing the cost.
Well, we can change the cost next year if we
Yeah, we
want to
could.
do that, but
Yeah.
we do, personally, I think we need to increase the usage.
Because I think the cost did go from 40 to 50, didn't it? Originally, I think we were
I think so.
5 and 40 and, yeah. But, yeah, what's the rest of the group think? We want to start there as a starting point, see what happens?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Fine, okay.
Somebody go.
I mean, I think that's a fair middle ground. I've been saying since we talked about this a year and a half ago that I think it should just be limited to Middletown, because you see this price down here and it's going to continue to go up as I hear it's hard to find more and more people for mulch, to dispose of our mulch. If Middletown's paying for all this, I think it should be just about valuable to Middletown residents. I think it's the easiest thing to do. I like the cost increase, and maybe it's like, hey, you want 10? 10 trips, it's 50. If you want 20, it's 100. Maybe we start getting creative and see how we can just create some more cash flow through this. But if it's not going to be just for Middletown, I'm all on board with saying let's up it to 20 for everybody this year.
And I would add to, when you look at these numbers, because I've been in repairs and maintenance with equipment for 40 some years. When you look at the equipment maintenance expenses that he has there in the middle of that, they're not necessarily going to go down when you take a group and put them out of the program. Because like I explained before, it's been out there a while. It's old, it's wearing, it's exposed to the weather. Things go wrong, they tear, they degrade. So I don't see where, that's going to have a big impact on maintenance. It can on the processing time, however, your processing hours in terms of labor are built into your budget. Your fuel isn't. That could go down, or you could see cheaper fuel by running it less. And also the hauling costs away would be less. So those are the two big things you would see. If you cut somebody out, that you could see some cost reduction.
The costs are directly proportionate to how much material comes in. And for what the site costs to operate, you're never even going to $100. You're not going to make a dent really in the operational costs just because of how large of an operation it is. One of the things to be careful of is, I understand we're looking at Mrs. Smith, who may take out 2 daisy blooms every other day and has 25 trips at the end of the year. But the only way to keep the landscapers out, who instead of taking in 2 daisy blooms are taking in 2 dump trailer loads, is by having a ceiling on the usage. That's what we have to stop. And I don't know of any other way to accomplish that other than having a ceiling that once you hit it, you're done. Because I went out there the other day and there's massive piles of trees that were brought in on dump trailers. They're 15-foot long piles and they're this high. That's not Mrs. Jones.
Is it hardwood?
No, it was a pine tree. But that's what we see. We had some users, in 2025 that were close to 70 uses.
So I'm just gonna, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
I'm just gonna put this out there. We know that there are a lot of residents in the borough that burn wood. There's at least in my neighborhood 8 of us. If you see a tree out there that instead of you grinding it up, if the borough were to put a post out to say, hey, there are 5 logs out here, come and get them, I can guarantee you there would be 6 people knocking at this door to come and get them.
That happens already. I don't know if we expose ourselves to inviting people out there with chainsaws cutting up logs.
You don't need to cut them up, throw them on the trailers.
Well, if it comes in from a landscaper, oftentimes they're long pieces. They're not
Right.
cut into log already, but
I'm just saying you wouldn't have to grind them then. You're cutting down the cost on the equipment and obviously the maintenance on the equipment, because it's easier to grind a little twig than it is a log. So if you put something out there, again, notification to the residents is everything. If you put notifications out there, you have mulch. If you put notifications out there, you have logs. You're gonna get people to come, but we don't notify enough. There is no notification on any website or even to anybody that there's logs out there to be picked up.
Do the people, when they dump these trees with branches and logs, do they separate the logs, or are they buried under branches?
No, they're buried.
we would have to separate it out.
We'd have to set up another area and a sign, like put your logs here. Yeah.
We would have to separate it out with the loader and get in and shake the things off of what would be the logs to make a separate pile.
But it's still going to take down your time in the chopping of it and the hauling it away.
Oh, the grinder's much faster than separating it.
Okay.
I don't want to get into semantics, but there's time involved with separating it out.
What she's saying is going to save fuel and hauling out dump costs somewhere, if you can get some of it separated out. We could put a sign out there. Anybody brings larger stuff, dump it here and brush over here. See what happens.
How many dump trucks of mulch have we gone through down at Susquehanna Street?
None.
How many times have you filled it?
Once. They are taking the leaf waste. They're taking the leaf compost.
Yeah. How many times have you filled that?
We refilled it once.
Matt, do you know that out of the total usage, what percentage was out of town?
A significant portion. It's hard to distinguish. Some were put in by name, not address, and I don't know where the people live. There were a significant number of Royalton is a blip on the radar. Royalton is just a few. There were a number from Lower Swat-Era. I can get that information. I tried to boil this down so that it was a little bit less information, but I can do that. We can separate it out by municipality. Some of the bigger ones come in from the township, larger yards, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
They have bigger yards and
Right.
more property.
Yeah.
It's hard to do this by volume because we only have gate opening counts. We don't have who dumped the large volume, you know. So there's some assumptions made, you know, that they have larger logs, they're going to get more of them, but they might have more landscapers that live out there that are doing work. They might even be doing work in
Or maybe this is
Surrey
a question
Township and bringing it in.
instead of asking by volume, do you remember, I think it was in one of your prior reports, the percentage of card swipes from out of town versus Middletown?
Yeah, that was in our last packet.
Yep.
I don't recall it off the top of my head. I can dig it up for you and provide it by email, if that's helpful.
They were,
Hold on.
the township was higher. I just don't know.
It was by,
If I recall, we get in more Middletown residents, but the Middletown residents
no, I think it was,
aren't typically the higher volumes.
I think it was the opposite.
I
I'm pretty sure.
didn't think I
it
was gonna need that piece again tonight, but that just popped in my head that I think it was more card swipes from Lower Swat-Era.
I think you're correct.
Yes, ma'am.
When someone comes to get a card, I'm assuming they don't say like they're a landscaper, correct? So there's no way to distinguish like just a resident getting a card or a landscaper.
Correct. That's a loophole.
That we can't.
If you live in town here and you happen to do landscaping on the side, you get a resident card like anyone else.
So is there any way, so with the 10 uses, because not everybody is going to go over 10 and not everybody's going to need more than 10, but some people may. Because I know, like, you know, we have a card and I think we've already used it twice just cleaning up like the debris from the winter. So we may only need it 3 more times, but then somebody that has a yard bigger, because we don't have any trees. So if we had a bunch of trees, we might need it more. Is there a way to, instead of just giving everybody 20 off the, like right from the beginning, to once you use 10, then give them 10 more on the card, like
got it.
reactivate it instead of just saying, here's 20 uses right away, to kind of gauge how quickly somebody's going through their 10 uses, because obviously a landscaper is going to go through 10 uses quicker than I would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like if you reapply,
Right.
somebody can look at this
Well, they went through
application
10
and say,
uses in,
well, you'll be able to tell from the application and whether it's a landscaper or Mrs. Jones,
right.
I would think.
I mean, because I
they'd have to give their
remember
address.
when you gave us those numbers last year, that one was like, I thought it was like 90 some uses, but maybe it was 72. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
And I mean, and that's why there's a problem. It's not anyone in here. It's,
And those users, I believe, without standing there and watching everyone come in, I believe those users who are going out 50, 60, 70 times are also bringing in a lot of stuff each time.
right.
It's not Mrs. Jones.
But I think one thing we didn't think about when we said 10 was if somebody does have a small car, you know, they can't take a lot, or if it is somebody elderly that can't lift a lot, you know, they may be only able to take a little bit at a time. Or if you're taking stuff out and then you want to bring mulch in, I mean, that could be 2 trips right there. So maybe it is only giving 10 on a card at a time and then renewing, re-upping the card once you're through that 10 instead of just putting 20 on at a time.
I have a lot of information that I didn't necessarily include on here. As far as our $10, we are very cheap compared to a lot of other municipalities and what they charge their residents. A number of them are up a minimum of 30. Lower Paxton, I believe, is up to 60 for theirs, but a lot of the municipalities are under 30 for their residents. And again, it's not to, be punitive in any way, but the facility does cost money to operate.
So I did find it. I did send it to you. Public Works use was Middletown was 171. LST was 86. Royalton was 16 for Public Works trips totaling 273. Cards by municipality. 10 to 19 trips by municipality. Middletown was 29. Lower Swatara was 37. Royalton was 2. 20 to 29 trips. Middletown was 9. Lower Swatara was 18. Royalton was 1. 30 to 39. Middletown 4. Lower Swatara 4. Royalton 0. 40 to 49. Middletown 1. Lower Swatara 5. Royalton 0. 50 to 59, Middletown 2, Lower Swatara 1, and 60 to 77 was 1 for Middletown and 1 for Lower Swatara. So most trips by a single user, Middletown was 67, Lower Swatara was 77.
So why are we? I mean, I guess I never heard from all the council on here. Why are the rest of the, I assume because no one agreed with me, wanting to keep Lower Swatara and Royalton part of this?
I think the way they did it because it was done by a grant. If you keep it, then it helps when we apply for grants because it's a municipality, a multi-municipality project. But I agree with you at this point. If we're not saving money by doing this, why are we doing it? Because it's costing us a heck of a lot more than what it's worth.
We're providing a huge service to Lower Swatara Township.
And I have no issue with helping the township. Maybe we allow their township workers to use it, but I don't know.
No, I don't have anything. I'm just moving my hand.
Yeah.
So far in 2025, there was a user with 13, a user with 11, 2 users at 8, 2 users at 6, and 6 users at 5.
Well, I thought it cut off at 10. Why do we have a 13?
Because we have to run a report and then turn it off. So
Oh.
we just ran the report yesterday.
I was going to say, why do we have a 13 if it shuts off at
Live
10?
watching somebody could get ahead of it. We come in, run a report. We only run that report maybe every other week or so, right?
Yeah.
Weekly. Don't run it every day.
I mean, there were a lot of people who were 1s and 2s and 3s, so far using it out there.
Right.
But it to date so far, and most people were probably cleaning out their beds just like all of you were. You get that big rush right after winter with getting everything out. But if there's any other numbers you would like, I can try to
I
come up.
don't need the one I asked for. My memory and what she just read is what I was worried about. But don't
So-
count on me. I don't need.
Okay.
So can we discuss additional trips? Potentially put it on the agenda for next meeting?
I agree. I'm on board increasing it to 20 this year, and then next year just to limit it to Middletown and Royalton since they were so minimal.
Could you do like Lower Swatara, reduce the amount of times that they could come in and increase the borough? Would that be an option?
Yeah, that's what they're, I think that's what she's saying.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Sorry. I
Increase
misunderstood.
ours.
Yeah.
Increase.
Yeah,
Just
and leave
increase
theirs the
ours,
same.
leave theirs the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
For this year. And then next year we can discuss what to do with it from that point.
I'm not for separating us from them or, like doing away with, Lower Swatara and Royalton when it comes to doing grants because you know, with the woody waste. That's not a good idea. When my uncle started that whole thing with the grants, that was to keep us so we would be continuous in getting the grants for the woody waste, not to put us in a bad position so we wouldn't. Let's not put ourselves
Well,
in that position
we're not,
again.
that would be next year.
Okay.
We're just talking this year to increase ours to 20.
Well, I don't even want to think about it next year.
Noted.
Rochelle, we just got a gaming grant for tons of money. Middletown was the town that, we didn't need another town to put in for us for that. We don't need Lower Sodera to put a
I'm
grant.
not saying that. I'm talking
We
about
do,
woody
we do
waste.
ask for letters of support from other communities and.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm
agencies.
just saying, like, I think at this point, it's been going on so long, like,
But we didn't need woody. We didn't need. It was a good idea to partner with them. We were supposed to partner with Highspire as well.
now it's a bad idea, I think.
Oh, I don't think so.
If
Well,
you
I
maintain,
will-
if you maintain Royalton, you would still be multi-municipal.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So then you can get rid of Lower Sodera.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor.
I'm one last question. How much are the out of borough residents? $50, did you say?
Yes.
50.
And what's the highest municipality that you quoted, Lower Paxton, at 60?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that if you entertain other municipalities next year, that you should raise your out of the borough rate, because obviously by those numbers, they're using it more in some cases than the borough. So I definitely think you should raise it more, because it is a good asset to have, even if you don't live in the borough. So pay for it.
Anybody else? Okay, Grace, can you add that to the agenda for
Yep.
this? Thank you. Sorry, Matt.
No, that's what we're here for.
Matt, I always feel like you're the man we talk to the most in here.
That's why we got the bigger podium.
Okay.
Sure.
I can duck down.
Are you doing the dam?
We're only increasing Middletown's.
Yeah, there's 6,000 cards we'd have to sort through. They're not listed by municipality.
Yeah, they're.
You're
listed
asking if
by
you should cut that one off tomorrow or today? Or wait, I would wait until our next meeting.
Matt,
That's just, is everybody okay? Okay.
are you going to talk about the dam?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Radar speed sign has been placed out on Roosevelt as requested to collect speed data out there. Crack sealing has begun. Basketball court information is provided in your packet here.
Hey, Matt,
Yes, sir.
on the crack ceiling, is that contractor that's doing that the same one as before?
No, it's a different one.
Have we warned this group about the issue, the last group?
Yeah, I mentioned it to them. I'll check up with them tomorrow. They meet up at the shop. I'll reiterate to them to be tidy.
Thank you.
I passed out some information at your seats there earlier. They weren't in the packet. The 4 large drawings, there are 2 half courts, and then there are the last 2 sheets are full courts that were placed. And there was cost for those as well. The reason I redlined the costs were they originally were not, the contractor did not compute prevailing wage rates in. We would have to follow prevailing wage, so it went up about 18% for prevailing wage.
This half court bid that you have here, is that for both?
That's 1 half court.
No. Is it for both locations?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Because why did this full court significantly oversee and overcost the other full court?
One has storm sewer work associated with it that was very expensive. It was a 48-inch storm pipe.
Thank you.
Sure.
So to put a full court in the location where the pavilion is located, going the width, running with Oak Hill Drive, not taking out the pavilion. That's the way that's going.
Yes,
And that's $111,000?
yes.
This one, the first page?
No, that's a
No.
half court. It's the third page.
Here's the third page.
Okay. I thought that looked kind of small, but
And then the full court back where the shed is, running with the shed.
no, it's right. Yeah, right there.
111.
That's it.
No. 62,000
Yes.
on this page. On the other page.
Oh, okay.
The,
Did that prevailing wage go up?
Yes,
yes.
Okay, because we don't have that one.
it's the same price no matter what, Matt?
Yeah, for the half court, it didn't matter. For the full court,
The full court,
one was at 60 something. The half courts were 45,000-ish. They were
yeah,
in the last
42.
one.
It was 42, now it's 49. But the full court going with the shed, there's no prevailing wage added to it. It was in our packet.
Yeah, so we're trying to, wait a minute.
Oops.
Yeah,
It's 18%. What's the number?
Roughly 74,000,
Thank you.
is it 74,000?
roughly. I just did
So
it in my
full
head.
court option 2 is 74.
That's roughly. I didn't
Roughly.
do it. I used to do it.
Oh, okay.
That one requires a little bit of relocation of the pathway that's there. And
That would
it
be
removes 3
Yeah.
trees.
It removes what?
How much
3
is that?
trees.
I don't
What'd you say?
I don't
Ken?
see that.
It's on.
Right here.
I don't see that.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You said it removing 3 trees. I don't see that.
He doesn't see the cost. So is that something you were planning to do? Remove
Yeah,
it?
we can do that. We can cut them down and they'll take them out when they do the excavation.
Okay.
What was
Ken, what was the number?
74.
The big tree.
74,000?
with the prevailing wage? The 62 with the prevailing wage goes up to 74.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the half courts are 49,500
Yeah, that's on here.
for wherever they go.
Yeah, the half court was pretty much
Got it.
much more simple.
So are these all existing trees you'd be cutting down, or are they trees that went in with the new park?
2 would be with the new park and 1 was a large existing
Because
tree.
I think that would be an issue.
And that's
We
only,
can relocate. We can attempt to relocate the smaller
but
ones.
that's only with the full court.
Yes.
Okay. If the half court, there's no trees that are being removed.
Correct. It'll need a good pruning, but it can stay.
And this is the only estimates we have.
Once it's decided which direction we want to go, I can surely get more estimates once we hone it in on where we're going.
I have some comments on this for you guys and for the residents. When this project, the Oak Hills basketball court was in existence right before the substation got put in there, that basketball court was probably the busiest basketball court in town. It just was. When I came on council, it was already in process and I kind of wasn't sure. I just had the assumption, okay, they're going to build another one somewhere. It never was the case. And unfortunately, a lot of the residents had the same assumption that, oh, okay, they're going to put another one somewhere. This got brought up about 2 years ago. It went back and forth for a little bit, and then it just went silent. We heard from people on both sides. people who were frustrated that they didn't want one back, people that wanted one back. Eventually it was silent. Over these last 2 years, I've heard this is probably more than any other issue, was, Pat, when's the basketball court coming back? By far and away, I heard way more residents asking for a basketball court rather than not wanting one. Doesn't mean that's the case. Just saying what I've been hearing from the residents. I have kids. My kids are 6, 8, and 10. They play in that playground for hours after school each day. Most of their parents, all the kids, we want a basketball court. Even the parents of these children. I used to always play there when I was growing up. That was the place to go play. It's a shame that there's not a basketball court there now. I see no reason, if you do this right, that this would be a detriment to that community. I was just in a beautiful town a few weeks ago. They had a kids' playground, and right next to it, not one, but 2 sets of basketball courts. Beautifully done. With benches where they have big events. It was beautiful. I think, we heard from Mr. Wilsbach here about basketball courts implying that they're a place of havoc and destruction and litter and whatever else. That very well might be the case in some communities. It doesn't mean that will be the case in our community. I don't think you don't put a basketball court because of the potential issues. I think that you prepare for the potential issues, allow our community to enjoy a space, and that they can for decades down the road. This community here in Oak Hills is full of children. You say, go down to Halford Park and let them play. Halford Park's kind of it's out there a little bit. There's not a big community around that area. Go play down in Fry Park. Again, there's no kids really down there. This community, and maybe it seems like it's always been the case, it just breeds children, little children to teenage children. I'm all for full size in the front space here. I see no reason why we couldn't.
I agree with you, but not on the space and not on the court. I would go half court and I would go back by the shed.
I don't understand one thing. I don't understand that when they were designing this park, why no one had the forethought when they were taking out the basketball court, why not design the basketball court into the park? Now that the 11th hour has come, now you want to put a basketball court in there. It's too late now. You've got more people coming here telling us not to put the basketball court in there than you do having people come in here telling us to put it in. We every time we bring this up, we have more people come in saying, don't do it, don't do it. There's little kids, that park's more for little kids and elderly people and families and people having cookouts and things like that. I just went by there Saturday for opening day, and if you want to put the basketball court in the parking lot, you're going to take away parking spaces. It was so parked up out there. There's limited parking out there now. If you take away the parking spaces out there, you really messed up again. So, leave the park alone. Forget about it. It's too late now.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I want to respond to that. I think that's our duty as government officials here to speak for the residents. If a previous council has erred or failed on something, it's our duty to fix their mistakes.
Yeah, it is. But
so then let's stand on our duty and fix a mistake. I agree. We should not be in that back part because the parking it's needed.
But what about
I totally agree with
what
you.
about when our constituents come to us and tell us not to do it?
I think you got to think of everybody, not just the loudest voice. Not
just the loudest, even the quietest ones too. You know, when they call you on the phone and say, "Hey, Rochelle, don't do it."
I heard the opposite of you.
I was
So it's
gonna
just different,
Well,
different people speaking.
Well, hey, it's not just calling you saying do it, it's calling me saying don't do it.
Okay.
So, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Ignore what I'm hearing
No,
and go along with you?
I mean, I like it, but you got to vote for what you
I
like.
gotta go with what I'm hearing.
Thanks, Rochelle. Mr. Curry?
I'm listening to everything that you all are saying.
Any other comments?
I do.
Sure.
I'm just going to say, I agree with Rochelle 100%. I've heard a lot of, we don't want it back.
Okay.
I just have a question. So when the park was designed, we got a grant for that park, correct? Didn't they have to approve the plans of the park before we got the money, before they would give us the grant?
Oh.
Okay, so if we go in and shred everything up that was already done, is that going to, like, could that deter them from giving us grants in the future because we didn't stick with the plan or anything?
No. I don't
I'm just
think
asking
so.
if I don't know.
In my experience, all things like that are possible.
Mm.
They just aren't on paper. Relationships with people at the state and people who get your money are to be valued and to be considered how that system works of scoring and bringing other agencies in, other communities like Lower Solera, Mara, the school district, and people in these state agencies who are going to score you. So they're all important to me, in my opinion. And things that you say can impact that. Simple as that, my experience. Not just what you do.
Do we have enough people to put it on the agenda for next business meeting?
Madam Chair, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
when it comes to whether or not to continue the discussion, I can only go by the will of the people. And the will of the people is who you speak to, who comes to the meetings. I can't help that. Some people hate social media. Some people choose to come here. We've had the same group here multiple times saying they don't want it. Then last meeting I heard they were okay with the half court. Now today it's nothing at all again. So that's been a little internally inconsistent for me to sit here at this meeting and hear that. With regard to the online social media community, that for me was overwhelming that they wanted it back, and it's also overwhelming where they wanted it. The thing that I will say, if you are looking at any of the options in the parking lot, I find that to be problematic. We don't have to talk about opening day. We could talk about just a game, one game last night. The entire parking lot was full. People are sitting with their tailgates open in those spaces watching. There was not a parking spot to be had. Any of these options back there, I don't think are feasible, and they don't go with the feedback that I received. And I don't think we get to pick and choose what feedback we listen to. So 3 people come here and say they don't want a basketball court. 3 people also came here and said they were disappointed in the way that we processed applications for borough council. You didn't seem to care about that. So when it comes to this basketball court, I can only go, I'm speaking. I can only go by the feedback that I get, and the feedback on social media was leaps and bounds greater than what came to these meetings. It's not that I'm discounting what is said at these meetings. I get it. But we had same people at 3 separate meetings say the same thing. Had a couple people that came and said, I literally picked my house because of the basketball court. And then I have the responses from social media and taking my kids to the park, and my son's on the baseball team. So I hear it all. It's not about what I want. I'm never going to go play a basketball on that court. I won't. But I have to do what the public's elected me to do. And those options that you're considering in the parking lot, they didn't get any support whatsoever in my field. I have no problem if you add it to an agenda to discuss which ones you want to discuss, but I'm not going to be in favor in a parking lot option because I can't, because that's not the feedback that I received. And I also think common sense dictates that all of us, regardless of our position with one another, is agreeing that the parking lot situation is difficult at best, even on just a basic game. So I don't think that we could take up those spots.
My whole thing with putting it out front like that, though, Mr. Curry, is the fact that putting it out in the open and a ball jumping over or somebody running after a ball and going into the street, where at least if it's back in the back, if you do have your 5 or 6 or 10-year-old back there playing and the ball goes out, they're only running into the parking lot. They're not running out into Oak Hill Drive.
Oh, no, that's a fair point, but I thought that this included the 10-foot fence.
Well, it does, but let's be honest, if somebody's throwing a ball, they're not always hitting or where it should go.
Now, I will say, in all my years of playing basketball, for the basketball courts that I've played on, when there is a 10-foot fence around it, that
No
is
basketball goes over the fence.
no basketballs going over that.
And I also don't think that a basketball court looks perfect in the front of a park.
I don't
I think it depends on what you do. in terms of the
Understood, but I just don't think that, to me, that's just my opinion. I don't think that a basketball court looks good in the front of a park.
Would like you to consider the backyards of the people there.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, to answer your question, agenda, I'm good with it.
Okay.
There's one person.
Anybody else want it on the agenda?
Meaning voting for a design?
Yep.
Fine.
I'm okay with it. Anybody else okay with it?
I actually just have a comment.
Sure.
Just comment, question. So just to reiterate these numbers, 111,000, 49,000, and 74,000. Has anyone given thought to where any of this money is coming from?
Right.
I'm just gonna put that out there because it's not a budgeted item, so that is something that council should think about. Because I haven't heard yet where the money's coming from.
Sure.
Matt, with regard to the 111,858, said that a large portion of that was stormwater portion of it, correct? Do you know if that was not in there, what does that cost?
He didn't break it out that clearly. I can have that information. He didn't do a line item by line item on there.
Why would you ask for it to be out? I'm just
Right.
curious.
So the reason I ask, don't flip out. It's just a question. But if it's
Oh, I would never.
if it's 111,858 and a substantial portion of that cost is because of this line.
Okay.
If it was turned 90 degrees, hold on, and you lose all that extra money that was being spent for those lines, I'm just making this number up. If out of the 111,000, the line project was $40,000 or $50,000, then my question is a pavilion less than $40,000 or $50,000, such that you could turn the basketball court and move the pavilion so that you don't have to deal with those lines. That was actually one of the options we had
It is.
previously.
Are you saying remove the pavilion?
He's just
saying-
making a statement.
I'm saying take that one down and put one over here.
Mm.
That's something that I'd like to know. I'd like to know what portion of this 111,858 is attributable to those issues right there with the highlighted yellow lines for the new inlet and the storm sewer line.
Mr. Curry, this is an assumption, but based on the workload for the full court off the parking lot at 74,
Yeah.
probably going to be maybe not exactly that, but coming down closer to that.
We'll
So-
take away the excavation of the paving.
But we can, get more exact numbers, and I could call
So
them
that right there could be 30,000 to 40,000. And that's an option.
But then you have the cost of rebuilding the pavilion.
Sure, but that pavilion there is not
I
It's
know.
not the Taj Mahal of pavilions. So,
Yes.
in fact, it might give you an opportunity to something a little nicer.
Now, I think those grills and part of that pathway were put in as part of the grant at that pavilion.
This court, is this, which size court is this, the pool? Is it junior high size?
Yes. Yeah, that's the junior high is really what fits the best of any full
Right.
court.
So if you did the half court, you wouldn't have the sewer issues
Correct.
and you wouldn't have the pavilion issues.
Correct.
And it's almost $60,000 less. Grace, can you please add that to the agenda? Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. Sorry, had a bunch of big things this week.
You sure did.
As Sydney had noted, our insurer came in and visited with us, and one of their essential recommendations was implementing what DEP wanted us to do to the dam. And we're going to have to provide the insurer an answer on how we want to proceed with whatever council determines is the best course of action for the reservoir dam.
And that still may remain an executive session topic, depending on what you're going to discuss about it.
My question is, how long do we have?
I think it's been a year since you got the first letter from DEP to fix it.
You mean since everybody else got it? I've
Yeah,
only
since
been here
we
4
got, since the
months.
borough got it, I'm sorry. Since the borough got it.
Okay. How, did they tell us how long we have to fix it?
Not in that letter, but, the next letter may do that.
We're going to talk about that tonight in executive session.
I think it's better discussed in there.
Okay.
Real estate.
The only other thing I had, and it'll be good news to everyone, is Wexcon is anticipating starting their pavement restoration. They'll start on the trenches, I believe, next week, and they're going to start on their final overlays and everything early May. So it's a long time coming.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
These new joint venture.
Anything else? What's Pride Park? I drove by it today. What's the completion date for that? You think estimate?
Probably at the end of next week.
Really? Eesh. Okay. That's speedy.
Yeah, that's a quick, easy one there. Yeah, if the weather holds for the next week, looked a little dicey with rain forecast, but the rest of this week looks pretty good. So.
Yeah. Great.
You want to take your kids over?
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Yeah.
Number 11, Mara.
I know they do.
We have a meeting in May.
Yes, we do. Number 12. Dan.
Good evening. Something came up yesterday that's not on my agenda that I'll be spending the majority of my time talking about, but there's some information concerning the testing I have on there and some numbers. If you have any questions, you can certainly ask about that. The speed signs on Roosevelt Street. An update on the air show with fire police. They're currently negotiating directly with the vendor. They're looking for an hourly rate to cover what they do because they're volunteers, hopefully doing everything I can to facilitate that. So we have 5 traffic control points in the borough that they're expecting filled, which we cannot fill. So hopefully they take care of it for us. You've heard me talk previously. There was a grant that was applied for by the district attorney's office about the co-responder. We talked about a co-responder embedding a mental health professional within the police department on a part-time basis. They called me yesterday and said they have some things in place to potentially roll it out on June 1st.
Wow.
However, there is no grant involved. So we would be sharing a co-responder with Hummelstown. They would be here 3 days a week and there 2 days a week. Our share would be $43,000 a year. This year's share would be approximately $27,000. I had Sally check. We had 3 recent resignations that those officers were funded in this year's budget. So far, as of June 1st, there'll be 9 months where we didn't pay those funded officers. That comes out to $49,273. We could fund this on a test basis for 7 months. We could evaluate how we feel it's helping our community. And we could do that without any changes to the budget and without any additional cost or expenses to our taxpayers for this year. Closer to the end of the year, we could make a decision and discuss whether or not $43,000 in next year's budget is something that's worth it to us. I may be able to squeeze a few dollars out of my other budget lines to help reduce that down. But I think at no cost to us, I think it's worth doing a 7-month trial period for this. Devin Chanos from the District Attorney's Office heads this program. She could be here at the business meeting and do a quick 10-minute, this is the spiel. I think it's worth at least listening to her. We could then potentially have it on the workshop meeting. We can vote on a workshop, even though it's just presentation. And then we could roll it out June 1st. But I think it's at least listening to her. She does a much better job of explaining it than I do. Couple reminders. This person is not a borough employee. We're not responsible for workers' comp. We're not responsible for benefits. We pay a portion of their salary for their services with us. They would be provided an office space within our police department. They come with a laptop. They come with a vest. They come with equipment. We provide them network access, and that's all we have to do.
Do you think we'll have enough utilization of that person in 3 days?
And I think that's what this 7-month period will do. We respond to a lot of mental health calls, and we respond to a lot of mental health crisis calls. What we don't do is the follow-up on following days. So even when there's a crisis situation on a 3 to 11 or midnight shift, we provide somebody immediate assistance. Sometimes families don't understand the follow-up. Sometimes they don't understand the bureaucracy. So having somebody show up the next day and say, hey, you need to make these appointments. You need to follow through with this. Here's a program I can get you in. These are some things I think would be hugely beneficial to us, because that's a void we currently don't fill. We're good at that crisis situation, but that follow-up aftercare is not part of our training or necessarily part of our protocol. So having this person in place, I think, would be helpful. And a 7-month trial period at no cost, no additional cost to us than's already budgeted, I think is a gift. And I think we should take advantage of it. So I'm not asking for any kind of commitment tonight, other than to entertain her next meeting. I'll make sure we got a lot on the agenda already. I'll make sure it's short. So if you have any questions, or if you want to Google, co-responder programs in some spare time over the next several weeks, it'll give you a better idea.
Everybody okay with her being on the business?
Yep. Yeah. Hands down. That's a great idea.
Thank you, Grace.
Any questions? Anything else? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Yeah.
13, joint venture.
Nobody?
Is
I
he
have a
here?
question with regard to them. And have you heard anything from them at all concerning the follow-up letter I asked them to send? Have they said anything to you at any meetings or?
Not recently. They said that they would, I think the last thing we heard was when George was here at a meeting, was the last that I heard. Now there is a joint venture meeting, I think it's Thursday. It's either tomorrow or Thursday.
Thursday.
So I was asking them about that, what, with there's an update there.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 14, anything from council or the mayor?
I have something. Last year, a big topic was talking about electric rates increasing, and it ended up before the year ended, it was just voted on for 6 months to use the trust fund, electric trust fund, to keep the rates lower. I was pushing really forward to bring it through the end of 2026. It was decided to only make it half a year. That's going to be coming up in June. I would like to make a motion to put it on the agenda to extend that to the end of the year for the next meeting.
We don't know what the new rates are gonna be.
I want to extend what we're currently doing.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Grace, will you call the roll, please?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
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 No. Anybody else?
I'd like to make a motion to have a discussion concerning the contracts for the horse and carriages and reindeer at the next meeting.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Grace, will you call the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
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 No. And the reason my vote is a no is because Mayor Lloyd will bring front what she wants to do when she has it set up.
My response is that the Borough Council has always chosen what to do and given direction on what they want. As a member of Borough Council, I'm noting that the public has really enjoyed those features for a long time, and that is why I made the motion to have it on the agenda.
Duly noted. Anybody else?
I just want to have a follow-up here with my request. It's going to be something that we need to be talking about, so it needs to be on the meeting very soon.
Yeah.
All right, because there's been nothing done to help the residents over this last 6 months in regards to that. We're still in the same place. That's why it should have been a whole year.
Nope. I agree with you that we need to do something about the rate, but I'm waiting until the rates. See what to do.
Okay. Mayor Lloyd, you don't have anything?
I'll give a report when I'm
That
ready.
makes sense.
Anybody else? Okay. Now the time for general public comment.
Hi, Marie. Hi, cousin. How are you doing? And I love the picture that you have of my cousin there, Robert Reed, the former mayor of Middletown. I love that photograph of him. So anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maria Prisby. I live at 507 Linden Street, apartment 3. I'm a lifelong resident of Middletown, graduated from Middletown Area High School and Penn State University. I'm also involved in the community. I'm a former Miss Pennsylvania, 2004, and I reach out to the sick, disabled, elderly, and homeless through my group, the Angels of Mercy. So I lived in my apartment for decades, and my brother, Billy, has lived in his apartment for decades as well. We have a new landlord who took over our property. She's volatile, she's very mean, and she verbally assaults me and my brother. Now, she verbally assaulted my brother right out there on our public street, on Linden Street. That's a quiet community, very quiet community, and well-knit community. And I asked her if she could look, well, she also frightened an autistic girl who lives next door. My son is also autistic. He's petrified of her. He hides in his room now. When she comes around, he's very scared of her. But anyway, I asked her if she could lower her voice, and she wrote me back, and she told me that she will not lower her voice. She does not care about Middletown. And she said that if anybody talks about her, if they have a problem with her, she's talking about neighbors like my cousin CE and others, that they'll get a dose of her voice as well. And now she placed a 30-day notice to vacate my residence for myself and my brother, Billy. She said that we have to leave our residence in 30 days.
Right.
And I'm just looking out for the community. You have a bully now on Linden Street, you know. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Billy Nolan, 507, Linden Street, Apartment 1. Same thing. They were doing work upstairs above me. I'm downstairs. They're doing work upstairs. And I asked her, don't you need a permit to do work, any kind of construction work? And I never should have asked her that. She went off on me like an 8-ball alarm clock. Real loud and embarrassed me and everything. I don't know. But it made me upset. That's it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Threaten you in any?
It's almost like she did, yeah. I was harassed pretty bad. And I'm a real nice guy, They come here and, try to want to take over everything.
Yeah, and she did harass my daughter, by the way. The police was called the other day. She got loud with the police officer because she gets like that, very manic and disrespectful. And she harassed my daughter. She called her like 5 or 6 times. I told my daughter, do not answer the phone because that's harassment, when it comes to
That's
something.
why I asked. I wanted to ask if you involved. You have the chief here tonight. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if you involved.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna read this anyway, what she wrote, and Charlotte, come on up here. Because she threatened Charlotte as well, and Charlotte lives on the street, on Linden Street. So this is what she said. She said, next time there's an argument, it's gonna be worse. So don't tell me to keep my voice down. That's not your business to tell me to keep my voice down. I don't care about what you said about living in Middletown for years. If you all don't like my voice, you can always do what you have to do. But don't tell me about next time. Keep my voice down. I don't care about it. Don't tell CE, which is my cousin and a neighbor, and company or whoever, or whatever her name is, don't be talking about me because she will get a dose of my mouth also. So she will threaten anyone. She's capable of doing that,
Hi, I'm Charlotte Jeffries, and this is my first cousins, and we all live in the same cul-de-sac, you would call it, but I've heard all of these things about this lady. I met her once because I looked at an ad for an apartment across from Wood Lane Court, adjacent to Wood Lane Court. It's like a building she's renovating and one that she's already finished. And before I even went to look at it, she's, oh, you're not going to like it. And I'm like, okay, I could be the judge of that. Let me come in and see it. She's just greedy. My opinion is this. I went in, looked at the place, and on the right-hand side, she has a sink, a stove, a refrigerator, and I'm like, where's the living room, dining room? This is it. Pretty much as big as this area right here. Well, where are you going to put a couch? Where are you going to put a table? This is it. Then there's 2 bedrooms upstairs. So what she did is she sliced that building down where you had that extra footage, and she built a little efficiency on the side because there's a man or someone that lives there. I think it's just all about greed. And how this all jumped off is the day that my cousin asked her, do you have a permit? Because the apartment above them is a 2-bedroom. I know the young lady that was there. I babysat her daughter. Her dad was a senior. I used to take him around and stuff. So lo and behold, they moved out, and no one's moved in since. How long's it been? No one's moved in since. And she's probably racking her brain how to make more money. So right now, they told them to get everything out of that shed. Once my cousin, her husband, he just passed. No sympathy, empathy, or nothing. Talking about the same day he died, I went over to console her and stay with her, and my other sister came. This lady's telling her, well, I'm going to give you a day to grieve or whatever, and you're not going to like what I'm going to tell you. I'm like, okay. I just feel she's greedy. That apartment up there She wants that shed because they have this truck outside every day with her husband bubbling around behind her because he doesn't say anything, and she just wears the pants, tells him what to do, and he just comes along and does it. And they're renovating this 2-bedroom up there. They closed in the porch, which is like a wraparound porch, because I looked at that one as well, but it cost too much and I didn't want to pay it. And she's making it a 3-bedroom now. So they're all about money. She doesn't want to know CE because it's not going to be nice. I am a professional person, but I know how to tell you what I need to tell you the right way. And she can put my name in that in that memo or whatever she wants, but she avoids me. My thing is, go back to Jamaica. You need to have your permit showing somewhere, because I think she got all 6 or 7 properties around here, and it's all about money, and everything's too high, and that's why they're not renting, especially the one above them. I've seen 4, 5, 6, 7 families come and go of all kind of different races, whatever. Nobody rented it, but she's right now making it a 3-bedroom to make even more money. And the place, she basically is fraud, because the places are filled with mold. And I swear, because I've watched her since she bought the property, and the amount that it cost, she went in there and pretty much put like a coat over it, cleaned it up, and then put them up for sale within not even 2 weeks, a month. I don't think she did any kind of professional cleaning, to get the mold out of there. And that's why my cousin's sick, her mom was sick, everybody's sick. That mold's still there. This is the type of person we're dealing with. So
you're saying they didn't do any remediation at all?
No, this lady is Diablo, and she doesn't see, because I'll just say, with the blood of Jesus, she does not want to talk to me. And I'm right next door. She knows where my van is. She knows where I live. I do not, I'm kind of upset right now just talking about it for the way they treat them, And my godson is her son. He's autistic, like my grandson. My niece upstairs is autistic. She was upset the day this happened. You have 6, 7, 8 neighbors outside hearing all this yelling, shebang, and this and that, like Diablo somewhere. And I'm like, I was at work, so I didn't know. I just know by what they told me. And one day I'm going to run into her when I'm getting out of my car, and I'm just going to shut her down. And I'm not violent, never had a fight in my life. I'm 60 years old. I'm a peacemaker, but with the power of the Holy Spirit and the blood of Jesus, Diablo's she's going to be going back to Jamaica or wherever she came from. That's all I got to say. But this lady needs to be looked into. She is so nasty and so cruel, and that man just follows around from her. Whatever she says, he's like, and they're just up there renovating, trying to get more tenants.
Ms. Jeffries,
there's something wrong.
Could I respond? I want the folks to understand that we're sorry that you're upset when you're dealing with somebody who's treating you this way. But I have to say that these landlord-tenant things are civil matters.
Okay.
That the borough can't really legislate kindness for people or what they say or what they scream. But it would say that if you feel that you are threatened in any way, you can talk to the police department. And if there's anything in your apartment that you feel is a safety violation or harmful, then we have a code department. In terms of, it's a shame, and there's so many people dismiss people and talk in a certain way that isn't kind, but those are things that we really can't help with. It's just, you might want to discuss with somebody who deals, like an attorney who deals in matters of landlord-tenant agreements.
Okay.
Because really what you have is a contract with your landlord. And you might want to look at that, if that's being violated anyway. We can't advise you on that. Okay?
Yeah, you did get that.
Thank you.
My condolences on your loss as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm a little taller. Jennifer Follinger, 138 Ann Street. I'm getting old now. Just a few things on the event that you had stated was coming up in May for Huffer Park. Is there any reason we cannot utilize the fire police or have a contract with the fire police instead of using our police officers?
Middletown doesn't have fire police.
Okay, Hummelstown does. Could we give Hummelstown a call? Or your
Dan,
local,
Dan has some experience with that,
or
and
your
it's
local
not.
blue, your local Blue Knights? Okay. Your Blue Knights are available if you don't know as well. We have 4 or 5 of those in town. Second thing is for the loss of words, for the woody waste, for the trunks and the trees that are set up, like Miss Dawn was talking about, or Miss Knoll was talking about. Could we set up like beginning of the month or every 2 weeks to have residents go in? Maybe we set a specific day, they go in and pick them up. That way he doesn't have to deal with it and he doesn't have to shred them. And they can just go in and, let's say the first and the last of the month, or the first and the middle of the month, we set it in to have residents go in who want that wood for their firehouse. Or it's going to be a long day. For their fireplaces or whatever, they can go in and pick it up on those specific days. And then we avoid our borough having to do a little extra work that's really not necessary. And honestly, they could take them as is. I mean, you're going to burn the shrubs too. You know, not the shrubs, but if it's not green, it burns. You don't want to burn that? Okay, I won't argue with you. I don't set fire to too much stuff. The other thing is there has been so I have now called Verizon and Comcast. At between 142 and 146 Ann Street, we have had a wire hanging down. It is not a live wire. Neither Verizon nor Comcast will take responsibility for it. And the young lady who lives at 146 the other night came to park and the wire got wrapped around her tire, and it took us 45 minutes to get that loose wire that is literally hanging and on the ground into the street unwrapped from her tire. I'm not sure if that's going to be a borough issue. Comcast and Verizon said it's not ours without even coming out to look at it.
Well, obviously it's not live if you touched it.
It's definitely not live because my dog peed on it twice.
They were out yesterday, Jen.
They don't do anything when they come out. Have you noticed?
No. Verizon was out yesterday taking wires down on Ann Street.
This wire has been there for more than a year. It has been hanging down in the road for more than a year. And I have been on the phone with Comcast and Verizon because
it's still there today?
It is still there today. In fact, now there's a little less because I did have to cut some in order to get it unwrapped from this young lady's tire.
Yeah, because they were up by, I don't know if you know where Swaggarts used to live, up on Ann Street.
There's
They
nothing
were
I
up
don't
there.
know.
They were up there yesterday taking wire down up there. So they're on their way down.
Well, but they're not. The point is that when I make a phone call to Verizon, it's not their responsibility. When I call Comcast, it's not their responsibility. So I understand it's not live, which means it's not a hazard to the community. But this young lady who comes, she works nights. She doesn't come home till 2 or 3 in the morning. She's now got a wire wrapped around her tire. You know, I just don't sleep, so you could hear her swearing. No point in calling the police. I knew what she was swearing about. We're out there trying to cut a wire out of her tire because imagine what that cost would have been if we had to have somebody out cut that wire and have her car, and she had to have her car towed to fix, or the damage it could have done. But just as suggestions, and then Mr. Jason, if you're available afterwards, Wood and Ann.
Yeah, we're able.
Okay. Other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
No problem.
And there's an identical one. I received a complaint on similar situation. I'll give you the address.
Chris McNamara of 714 Pine Street. Just a few things on the fire department. I think it's fair to say too that so the public is aware, boroughs are unique in Pennsylvania, where the fire departments are a department of the borough. And in, I want to say 2000, I may be off on my timeline, but we consolidated the fire departments, and in doing so, we made revisions to the ordinances. And I believe within that ordinance, there's discussion in terms of how the chiefs are selected and how we move forward in purchasing equipment. Henceforth, there was a fire sinking fund that was created.
Yes.
So I don't know if that still exists, but there's also a program through the state, through PEMA, and it's a 2% loan, low interest. And it depends upon the classification of the apparatus, but in some instances, it covers 50% of the cost of the apparatus. So I would urge you, and unless your finance director has communicated with FEMA and is familiar with the 2% loan program, I would urge you to explore that. Because I heard a lot of money being spent tonight, and I will just say this to you: I would urge you to take a look at your tax base because it's dwindling. On the recreational things, I will say this: what I noticed, I'm 1 block from the playground. When it first disappeared, the older kids bleeded over to the playground, and then impacted the little ones in the playing and the ongoings and chased them away. And as Mr. Lister indicated, that after school, if you've been out there, you will see it's flooded with children today. I would urge you in all of this, just back to the football organization, baseball, I think it's time you take a look at, I really got my eyes awoken because my son played football last year. And in all our travels, we played majority on a high school field, I guess would be fair to say, right? But there were a few that had their own facilities, and that there were agreements, whatever, but the facilities were there. These kids, as far as football goes, they don't have nothing. They're fighting with the school district for the use of War Memorial Field. Go back and look how that field got its name and why it's here. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I think he's been able to secure, 2 games this year. But when I was growing up, we looked forward to that, coming out of that locker room and looking forward. That was like a big thing for the kids in the town. So I would urge you to take a look around, go out to Little Hollywood and look what the township has out there. There's baseball fields, there's a playground, there's basketball courts. With all the open space that we have, and I don't know, Kenny, you might be able to answer this, but I would urge you to, before you move forward with anything, on that note, to have the solicitor, perhaps go back and look at some things before you move forward, because if that was acquired by a grant, at least my knowledge, there's terms and conditions in the grant. I don't know if you've done this, but you might want to go explore that, because there are some that have language in that if you do anything to what the grant was approved for, then you might look at paying back the grantor. So I would urge that. The fire department, like I said, I would strongly take a look at that. If the funds aren't available, I believe I heard like a 0.3 in terms of millage, right? So I go back to your tax base, and is it a need or is it a want? And I'm not opposed to the fire department. I'm not opposed to the police department. And the only other thing that I would tell you in terms of Oak Hills, I took a lot of heat because we took out the dugouts. But at that point in time, I didn't want to share. The neighbors and the residents knew what was going on, but it wasn't until we met with the police that the police actually shared with us what was happening. So that's why there's no dugouts out there anymore. And I think at this point, with the installation of the basketball court, reinventing it, you might be looking at, because in my familiarity with it, the usage wasn't Middletown kids. There may have been some at times, but there was a lot of issues when I served that it was out of towners that were creating issues out there, from trash to destroying picnic tables, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not against it. I think you need it, but I think overall, you ought to look at trying to get grants instead of putting in a walkway. Maybe we look at getting a recreational complex to meet the needs of the community going forward. And I certainly wouldn't do anything with a shed. If you've got issues with an organization now, I would refrain from taking any action on building anything until you rectify that issue. Because floodplain, etc., why authorize the expenditures of funds if you haven't looked at what the guidelines are with FEMA, et cetera, et cetera? I'm not opposed to it, it's needed, but I just think there needs to be an investment, and there needs to be some help, especially since what's happened with the other football organization. These guys are the only game in town now. So they need somewhere that they can call home. That's my opinion. So hopefully, and through your grants coordination, you can explore that and do what you wish. But those are my comments. Thanks. Thanks. Thank you.
Greg Wills, Box 719 Spruce Street. Even after I gave you all the examples of the issues of basketball courts around the area, it's obvious there's a couple on here that don't care about the ramifications of what a full court's going to do to the children in that park. It's fine. Counselor Lister said it was a mistake and we should fix the mistake. It was not a mistake. There was no room for a full court in there. The kids have just a small space of grass to play and do different things in there, and you will take it away from them. I lived across from a basketball court for 30 years. You haven't. You have a basketball court in your neighborhood. So I don't know what your issue is with this, other than I've heard there's the Middletown coach lives across the street now, just moved in, and now all of a sudden this is a big thing. And I've heard that there may be friends on council that are friends with him. I don't know, and I don't care. I'm simply worried about my grandchildren and my well-being of listening to the crap that we listened to when it was across the block. If it was a mistake, why didn't you put a basketball court in the new design for what you're doing on Union Street? You put the new parking down there. Why isn't a basketball court down in there? Because it's not meant for that park, right? Correct. Face says it all. It's not meant for that park. That park that you just designed, you're getting grant money for it, should have a basketball court. If basketball courts are that important in town. Did we look at an alternative place? I don't know if anybody has. So you do what you want.
Council President, can I respond real quick? Can I make a comment?
If you feel you need to.
Mr. Wilsbach, I mean, no disrespecting you by any way. This is just my opinion from the residents that I spoke to, which was a lot. We can have differences of opinion. I understand where you're at. But you lived there 30 years with a basketball court. You didn't move, so it could have been that bad.
Anybody else for public comment?
We're about to leave, but I just wanted to say, because I'm on some Facebook pages with Middletown pages and stuff, and I'm opinionated and I put things on there. So since I'm here, I'll just say, I feel it's a shame with the pool in town. When I say in town, it just reminds me of the old base pool when in town was where I lived. It was already a pool. I think, it's a lot of money. They couldn't fix it. It was beyond repair. They didn't have the people to work the snack shop. I even said, I'll volunteer. I'll work there. I'll be a lifeguard. I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. That's what I do. I volunteer. I see solutions and I jump in. I just feel, I know it's tore up now. I just look down there and I'm like, it could have been a skate park. We already had the concrete, put in the little dips and have a skate park. I sit down to the Huffers Park. I love Little Middletown. Like I say, born and raised here. I'm 60 now. I lived in Florida 30 years and I came back and I still applaud my little town. Can't tell me nothing about Middletown, period. Okay? So I look at the pool. There's nothing to talk about that anymore. But when I look at the park, I was there when they broke ground. I was there at the ribbon cutting. I was there with construction. I met the guys. I sit in my car. I do meditation. I do whatever. I met them. I brought them lunch. I brought them water. And I could not wait for it to open. But then when I heard the reports about older kids jumping and flipping and doing all this, I was pissed because we weren't brought up like that. And being a teacher, then I go into teacher mode and I'm all about safety. So that really pissed me off when I used to hear both sides, And I'm like, okay, but thinking about development, and I did every stage from infants to teens, high schoolers. When you think about development for these tweens and teens, there's empty field space right there by the basketball court on the other side of the fence and on the other side of the playground. Why don't they just erect some walls like in The Shining and make a maze? Why don't they put up rock wall climbing? Something like that, because these kids want to jump. They want to run, they want to hide, they want to tag, they want to do the same things the little kids do. And believe me, they didn't want me sitting there watching, because I'll sit on a bench, I'll sit in my car, but when I see somebody climbing up those things and I see my babies playing and their safeties, their safety is of concern, my mouth is open in a nice way. It's like, get down, go somewhere. I don't want to see you over here. Find something to do. Because this is not safe for them, and you just can't do that. You're not running up. If I'm sitting there You're not running up slides. You're not jumping off of nothing. You're not doing none of that. But this is for the little kids. And I feel bad for them because they want to run, jump, hide, and everything too. Find something for the teens and tweens. That's it. We got all this open land over there. Put in some rock wall climbing, put in some little mazes, little benches where they could sit, have lunch, chill. I'm just saying, there's something you could do for that age group. And that's all they want. And they'd stay off of that stuff because when I'm there, they don't want to see me there because even some of my cousins were doing it. And I'm like, come here. You don't want me to go and get your mom. First, I don't have to get your mom. I'm going to tell you right now, this thing, and everyone knew me for the 20 years of teaching. I didn't teach in Middletown, born and raised here, but I moved to Florida in 92, down there 30 years. But 20 years there, they knew me, Miss Charlotte, for this ain't happening, and I don't think so. That's it. You know, other teachers would be like, we got 2 and 22. You're over in your little cozy class with 10. Can we send so-and-so over there? They're like, I don't want to go to Miss Charlotte's room. Yes, you do. Come on. This ain't happening. I don't think so. Boundaries. Love you, much love, nurturing, all of that. Even to this day, I have children that I became a nanny for one day, then a weekend, then weeks at a time. And parents will go to Paris or somewhere and trust me with their kids. My personal ministry mirrors that as well. For 40 years. My son's 41. I've been doing that stuff for years. So what I'm saying is, those kids, them teens and tweens, they need somewhere to jump and run and hide and sit and have their little area too. There's a lot of empty land around here to do that, and it doesn't cost a lot.
Thank you.
Good night.
Could I add something? There's been a lot of talk about parks and recreation tonight, and a lot of suggestions, and maybe even some accusations. But I want to remind everyone that we spent a significant amount of grant money to do what is called a PROS plan, where we looked at the entire borough, parks and open space, and we had professional parks planners look at the entire borough. We spent a lot of time with surveys posted at the parks where you could scan and pick what you like. We went to basketball games at the high school more than once and solicited children of all ages what they want to see in the borough, and we solicited from parents and older people. And then we heard the reports from the professionals who do designs of parks and in communities, and we got a big report, and we got direction, and we got priorities, and we still have that report. The problem is that not everybody's probably familiar with everything that's in there, because that was done years ago, maybe 3 years now. But the process that everything you're seeing in town is coming out of that report. That Little Middletown started before that PROS plan, but Oak Hills was built out of that report. The Soraya Crossings Park, which we're calling it now, which might change the name, down where the pool is coming out of that report. The trails that you're going to see start to appear in the borough, where by far and beyond any other thing that was picked by the community, as that was the number one thing they wanted. So what you're going to see happen probably next year, you might see something start this year on Susquehanna Street, but most likely you're not going to see dirt being turned until next year. But we just got a full 100% grant for the what we call the waterfront trail, the beginning of the waterfront trail. It's going to happen on Susquehanna Street. It's just trails and pollinator gardens right near where the boat landing is. We've been in discussion with the fish and boat people about doing something with kayaks at that boat landing and extending the trail across their property eventually. We are ready to start design, you heard me talk about, on Soraya Crossings Phase 1, which is going to happen just south of the parking lot where the old pool was, in that area, that green space area. And that's going to be a nature play area for kids that will have climbing structures, ropes, zip lines, and the like. Then on the other side, Phase 2, which we're currently putting together a grant application now, where the pool was, is going to be an open space and gathering and more trails along the Swidara Creek and looping that park, and a big open space area for presentations with a band shell. And that park will be connected to Ann Street by a trail going past our historic sites. And we hope to get signboards and bring in the historic aspect of Middletown. That's the old canal basin down there, and bring people to that. Eventually, it's in that pros plan report that we connect these trails to every park on the east side of Middletown. The Susquehanna Park would have a trail that connects to Swidara Crossing, where the old pool is, and a trail would eventually go to Hoffer Park. So we can start something bigger that ties everything together. And who knows, maybe 10 years from now, we can go over the bridge into Royalton and they can get something down that side of the river. The whole idea is we've never taken advantage of the water features in this town. We have Susquehanna River, Swidara Creek, and that's what people want. Parks connected to nature, the beauty. When we talk about our sports stuff, the reports from the professionals were there were fewer and fewer people playing organized sports. However, Middletown being a sports town, we talked about fixing up some basketball courts and maybe pickleball courts, but all this stuff was prioritized. So what you're seeing first is some of this trail stuff with where the nature play area is also going to have outdoor exercise equipment, because what we found by most young teenage girls at the high school, they want to exercise, but they don't want to go to the school district facilities where the jocks are, because they don't want, their image conscious at that age. They'd like to go somewhere else, and they love that idea. So they all picked that. So that's going in down there in Swidara Crossing. So you're going to see some really nice things start to develop next year with these parks going in. And I hope that when I'm gone, that the people in the community will follow me and start connecting those things together. Who knows? Maybe someday we have a bigger nature trail that goes along the creek toward Hummelstown, So those are the visions that we have now, but we're not forgetting about the organized sports. We do recognize, as you heard Mr. Curry say, those things are identified too in the pros plan. But at that time, they weren't listed as a priority because the priority didn't come from staff. We had a whole committee and we had some business community members, but we didn't get as many people as we want. We put out notices, but we had a committee, and on that committee were people from the state parks boards, engineers, staff, and council and committee members. But we invited to the survey everybody in this community. So what you're seeing being developed is coming out of those surveys. And basketball courts weren't high on the agenda. Either were pickleball courts. Pickleball courts were higher than basketball courts. If anybody ever wants to see it, we have that report that shows you how those rankings came in. Now, we talked about a bigger sports complex on Susquehanna Street because that's where our football field is, which is not a great football field, but it has lights, which when I coached, I got those from Lower Swidara Township and got council convinced to put those up so they could have nighttime practice. So I'm not opposed to those kind of things, but yeah, that can be something that we can look at, but we spent a lot of time prioritizing it. We brought it before council, they approved the plan, we adopted it. So if we're going to start taking ideas that people just bring up that don't know about the plan and rearranging it, you're going to have a mess. But if you follow the plan, I think you're going to have a nice park system in Middletown. And one of my things I've talked to council for years, if you want to re-energize a community, look at parks and look at something that people outside this community want to come in to do. And ever since COVID, trails are big. And so the other thing I've talked to council in the past and Mr. Curry, and we talked about in the pros plan, finding unique things we can do that somebody else doesn't have. So with that, if anybody wants to talk about what's in there, please feel free to call me. Anybody listening at home, I'll sit down with you and break out the plan and we can tell you why we're doing what we're doing. And if you want to, it's been several years, you want to reprioritize things, we can do that.
That was my question. If you could go to your plan,
Sure.
stick with the plan, I think.
Yeah. But when it comes to parks, what I see, this is the first time I'm going through a big parks plan in a community. And boy, you get 1,000 ideas. So that's why you do the survey and see where it shakes out. There's surveys in there. You can look at those. We're doing some surveys now about basketball thing, but when you start doing additional surveys, you're overlooking the original one. But it's council's decision if they want to reprioritize, and we can break that out.
One more, but in regards to the short description, what you referenced, Susquehanna Street, what's the actual plan then for that beyond I think what you call?
Well, there's some things we talked in there about putting pickleball courts and basketball courts down there. Years ago, we talked about putting down there because of the comments about noise with pickleballs, clack, 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 and bouncing balls, that maybe we could make a bigger sports complex down there that the athletes would love. Matt and I even talked about, we game plan ideas that aren't in the pros plan. I said it'd be so cool because you can get things that are unique, like a 40-yard dash put up where kids at football can run and see their time. And you could put that down. It's like on an outdoor grass, that AstroTurf. There's all kinds of cool things instead of just plain old stuff, the usual stuff that we could add to a sports complex. But here again, all this stuff is expensive.
And it's in a floodplain.
Well, and it takes time. Okay, that's the biggest thing that I see is, till we get council on board and we put together a preliminary design and we have a pros plan and get ideas, here's what we're going to do. And then it goes to the state. For example, the pool, we had to go to the federal government to get permission to change that down there. So that took time. So till this gets in the ground, you're talking about.
To have a conversation after the meeting. It's like 9:30 and some of us have to.
Okay. But I thought it was important because there's a lot of things that looks like we don't have our act together. And we do. It's just a matter of what your priorities if you want to change.
Hi, I have one more public comment. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice, and I do highly recommend that you have a mental health official right along with the police officers because a lot of the calls involve, mental health, and that you should do follow-up as well. So that's my recommendation and I'm a former special agent as well, so that's just my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just not sure. Can you clarify what the motion is for the basketball court that's going to be on the agenda?
To talk about to clarify which one.
Which site?
Which site and full or half.
You're voting on which
location.
Are you voting on the location or you're just talking about it again?
We're going to vote on the location.
Well,
and we're going to vote on.
So someone's going to make a motion for a location out of the locations that were
1 and 2 or 3 and 4.
Okay.
Or
so you're not
5
talking about it, you're voting on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're adding it to the business meeting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. So you're voting on a basketball location at the next meeting. So the public is clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, because that was not clear.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else for public comment? You got 2 seconds, Kat.
Take me 10 seconds or 10 minutes?
Both.
Okay, start that timer.
All right, I got you.
Hey, Alfred Vine Street. I have a question. I had 2 incidents last week. What the regulations are on these little motorcycles. I'm backing out of my driveway on Vine Street. One's coming up the sidewalk. Okay? The other day, cut in front of me and Roy waved at me and smiled.
Why do you?
He knew me.
You're lucky it was a wave and not a finger.
If they hit me, they're going to know me. Is there any regulations? I mean,
they're illegal.
Dan, I know we talked about it.
It depends on the type of bike. Registration. their e-mobility laws. And it's kind of timely because I got an email of a webinar next week I'm going to be attending. The state is passing laws specifically towards, the state has a bill ready to be presented new laws on e-mobility, which will allow municipalities to personalize how they want them within their own municipalities.
Because
So
they're supposed to be following the street.
they are,
Yeah.
they are. It depends. If you're on the street, if it's an electric bike with pedals, it doesn't need registration. You don't need a license, but you still have to follow the laws of the road.
Right.
So we will have the ability to change it. I have a flow chart that I can email everybody that shows you the type of vehicle and what laws are associated with it. If people are using them responsibly, we in general aren't, if somebody's on a scooter, they're an adult and they're on their way to work with a backpack on and they're following the laws, it don't necessarily bother them. Technically, certain types of vehicles like that might be illegal to ride on the road, but if they're doing what I just said, it's very bothered. If they're a supervised, child on the sidewalk with their electric scooter and their parents are in the area, we don't necessarily bother them either. But if people are breaking laws in front of us, we're stopping them as if they're illegal.
I had somebody with one of those scooters, and they were all over the road. They were on the left-hand side of the road, then they were on the right-hand side of the road, and they were back on the left-hand side of the road. And they went in front of my car, and then they went back, from
Like
one.
motorists and respectful people out there on cars, and so I will have an update probably after that meeting on what we could potentially do or expect.
But when he said mini bike, I was thinking like the motorized mini bike.
Well, yeah, these were regular, like,
Some of those motorbikes,
they're small.
There's small motorcycles out there that
Yeah.
look like mini bikes that have registration tags on them that are legal.
Are they really legal now?
If they're registered with the state, then you're licensed.
Yeah, we got a nut that rides around my neighborhood with one of those little mini bikes, but it doesn't have a license on it.
is there
It's
an age
all-
limit on that? I mean, not to be motorized. These weren't licensed. They didn't have license, but I mean,
Okay.
I see kids that are, my football players, 12, 13 years old,
Right.
they're driving. There's no age.
There's no age restriction on bikes. If it's
Okay.
classified as an e-bike by the state law, and again, I have a matrix that I can show you. They're legal. for
No, I believe
people to
that.
ride.
Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to ask.
And
Thank you.
it'll probably be more permissive. Again, these are going to be more prevalent with the advent of electric technology, and I think
And with the
state-
price of gas.
and that's why the state is allowing there to be some customization per municipality depending on what you want.
So in other words, we're going to be having another conversation about what we need to do. Perfect. There you go, Kat.
That gives you, that gives you something to do with it all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Cat.
Yeah.
Anybody else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion. Oh,
Just a quick,
sorry, Darnell.
Darnell Nolan, 507, apartment 1, Lindy Street. I support the football, the boys club, because I played years ago and he was one of my coaches. and I had like the last game, 20 something tackles in the last game.
There you go.
There you go.
I have a motion to adjourn, please. All in favor?
Aye.
No. Oh, I can't even feel my knees.